Welcome to Jaws Travel Media. This is your #1 travel channel of all time, which brings you uncensored stories around the world. We are happy you could join us today for yet another alluring and captivating video. Despite being considered repulsive by the majority of the world, cannibalism, the eating of human flesh by humans, is very much still alive today. People turn to cannibalism for a number of reasons, ranging from religious ceremonies to extreme, desperate needs. Whether legal or otherwise, the practice continues, and here are the 6 hotspots in the world where cannibals can dine among friends. Number 1. Papua New Guinea. In western New Guinea along the Ndarankaba River lives a tribe called the Koroi. The tribesmen believe mysterious deaths are attributed to demons who take on the human form, and it is their duty to consume the dead man's carcass in order to take revenge for the death. The Koroi tribe is a fascinating tribe only recently discovered in Papua New Guinea. Up until the 1970s, there had been no previous recorded contact between them and the Western world. One of the most remarkable engineering feats of the isolated and primitive tribe is their ability to construct great treehouse which sit 140 feet high in the jungles. The treehouse are constructed and placed on stilts, which were designed to protect the members from rival villages. These basic structures are only accessed by wooden ladders placed up against the stilts to reach the top. Papua New Guinea is one of the countries in the world where it is no secret cannibalism has been practiced in the past, and up until quite recently. The Koroi tribe is one of the last known tribes in the world to have been cannibals. Because of the Koroi belief in evil spirits, it was necessary to kill and eat a person they believed had been taken over by a kakua, or demon. There is talk that the practice is still carried out today, and some members of the tribe will state this. However, others believe this claim is just for a good story to live up to the expectations of foreigners. Either way, the tribe still has a recent history of cannibalism. Number 2. The Headhunters of West Papua, Indonesian Papua. From the past to the present, the remote island of New Guinea has a long meaty history of humans eating humans. Today, West Papua is still a field of the possibly last surviving tribes in the world engaging in cannibalism. Indeed, the Indonesian Papua is proudly a land of the headhunters, notorious tribal warriors, and there were many alarming cases of strangers being attacked, killed, and eaten by the indigenous people. For Westerners, the concept of cannibalism seems absolutely horrendous. For the locals, it has always been a cultural norm, not an act out of hunger. Ritual cannibalism manifests their strong belief, animism. There are 5 known tribes in the territory of West Papua, Indonesian Papua, that have been practicing cannibalism for centuries. Some of them stick to their tradition even today. Number 3. Denny Tribe, the Dead Birds. The Central Highlands of West Papua is home to the Denny people who had been waiting a long time to be discovered. They live in so-called hanai, tiny mushroom-shaped huts made out of thatch and reeds, and they are hunters. Men spend most of the time preparing primitive weapons, hunting and treating resulting injuries, while women look after the youngsters, grow sweet potatoes and tobacco. Like most of the ethnic groups in New Guinea, Denny Tribe lives in its own world full of odd rites and rituals. A big part of funeral ceremonies is finger amputation of the female members for each death in a family, or multiple pig slaughtering during celebrations to show the success of the community. Pig feasts and cooking rituals are a big part of every important event when several pigs are killed using a bow and arrow portion, wrapped in a banana leaf, and traditionally cooked in the earth oven together with potatoes and cassava. The emphasis in battle is to insult the enemy and wound or kill token victims, as opposed to capturing territory or property or vanquishing the enemy village. Afterward, their remains are kept for a big feast. Weapons are decorated with ornaments made out of the victim's body, and trophies such as the skull bones and hair are displayed in the most respected part of the village. Did you know? There is an old Denny legend about a race between a bird and a snake. The race was to determine the lives of human beings. Should men shed their skin and live forever like a snake, or die like a bird? The bird won the race, and so dictated that man must die. Number 4. The Cannibal Monks of Varanasi. The Aghori monks of Varanasi are feared throughout India for their extreme practices. The monks are said to be able to predict the future and make evil prophecies. The exiled tribe believes in engaging in taboo practices in search of spiritual enlightenment. Feared across India, the exiled Aghori monks of Varanasi feast on human flesh and reside near cremation sites in search of spiritual enlightenment, showing the monks with painted faces and beads strung around their necks. These incredible images were taken by Italian photographer Crescito Ostidoli, who spent time with the tribe to discover more about their way of life. The mysterious tribe members live in cemeteries and feast on human flesh as part of their rituals, as well as drinking from human skulls, chewing the heads off live animals, and meditating on top of cadavers in search of spiritual enlightenment. Number 5. The Democratic Republic of the Congo. In 2003, marauding rebels massacred and ate pygmies in the dense forests of northeast Congo, according to UN officials who are investigating allegations of cannibalism in Ituri province, where fighting between several rebel groups displaced about 150,000 people. Many of the displaced people told of rebel fighters capturing and butchering pygmies. UN officials in the capital, Kinshasa, and the eastern city of Goma said that widespread cannibalism had already been established. Ituri completely went out of control, and cannibalism was just the latest atrocity taking place in the region. Ituri's forest-dwelling pygmy tribes have been caught between opposing groups supporting the government and Ugandan-backed rebel groups in the last battles of Congo's 4-year civil war. The two Ugandan-backed movements routinely enslaved pygmies to forage for forest food and prospect for minerals, a UN official said. Hunters returning empty-handed were killed and eaten. Reports of enemy commanders feeding on the sexual organs of pygmies were reported, apparently believing that would give them strength. Pygmies were forced to feed on the cooked remains of their colleagues. Number 6. The Wari people in Brazil. The Wari are often referred to as Pacum Nova, as they were first sighted on the river of the same name, an affluent on the right bank of the Mamor River in Rondônia state. The Wari not only ate the enemies they killed, but they also ate their own dead. The rite began with the onset of serious illness when consanguine kin and a fine wept for the dying person. This was followed by a funeral song in which everyone referred to the dying or dead person in consanguine terms and recollected events they had experienced together during the person's lifetime. After death, the weeping became more intense. Close kin, called true kin, were at this point differentiated from distant kin, a category which particularly included those effectively related by marriage. The former organized the funeral, while the latter executed it. Preparation of the corpse had to await the arrival of close kin who lived in other villages and who had received news of the death by means of these same afai. During this 2 or 3 day period, the corpse would start to rot. This was the state in which it was cut up and barbecued by the afai. When the meat was ready, close kin shredded it and placed it on top of a woven mat, next to small pieces of roasted maize cake. They then asked their distant kin to eat it. People had to avoid touching the meat with their hands. Instead, they used small wooden skewers to place it delicately into their mouths. The Wari disliked any sign of the deceased being eaten avidly, as though it was game meat. Its rotten state, which apparently resulted from an inevitable prolongation of the wake, since kin living further afield demanded to see the corpse while it was still whole, was also a way of making ingestion of the meat unpleasant, sometimes nearly impossible. In these cases, only a small part was eaten and the rest burned along with the hair, internal organs except for the liver and heart, which were eaten, and genitalia. When the meat was finished, the deceased's close kin decided whether the bones would be burned and buried with the barbecue grill or macerated and consumed with honey. In general, distant kin consumed the bones, but some people claim that this part of the meal was reserved for grandchildren, who were also the favored consumers of the deceased's roasted brains. Today, the dead are no longer eaten but buried after 2 or 3 days of mourning. Abandonment of cannibalism occurred shortly after pacification. Keep it locked to Zhao's Travel Media, and thank you for watching our information feature. We hope to see you in the next one.